Welcome to the Basics of Biblical Research Workshop. My name is Andrew Stout, and I'm the Public Services Librarian here at Covenant. This workshop offers a basic overview of how to use library services, focusing on resources that are available to distant students. This workshop will help you learn how to pinpoint resources on specific biblical passages, and it's going to be particularly relevant for students in covenant theology as you prepare to write your hermeneutical process paper, your final paper for the class. I do want to specify the resources that we'll be looking at today are resources that are relevant to that paper, although they are not required for you to use. As I understand, your professors are making available to you in Canvas sections of commentaries that you can use as sources for your paper. So these aren't resources that you will be required to use to complete that assignment, but they could be good supplemental resources, and they will. These will definitely be things that will be helpful for you to know as you complete assignments in future classes as well. We're going to start off by looking at how to locate and access commentaries. We offer a few different commentary surveys in our library collection. Commentary surveys are guides. The first is a guide to biblical commentaries and reference works by John Evans, who is an alum of Covenant. Old Testament commentary survey by Tremper Longman. New Testament commentary survey by D.A. Carson, and a New Testament commentary guide by Nijay Gupta. The first one, Guide to Biblical Commentaries and Reference Works by Evans, is not available as an ebook. It's only available in print, but the other three are available both in print and as ebooks. So those are discoverable through the library's catalog. And these are resources that provide summaries of individual commentaries. They note kind of their strengths and weaknesses. They'll note what kind of audience each commentary is geared towards. So they'll note if a commentary is particularly good for more scholarly purposes, for exegetical work, if it's geared towards pastors preparing sermons, or if it's more devotional in quality. The library also provides its own commentary guide where we note major commentaries on each book of the Bible. So navigating over to the library homepage, we're going to go to the commentary guide. To do that, we're going to go to our guides and help section. The guides and help section provides a list of all of the different research guides and how-to guides that we provide to help you navigate the library's resources. And we are looking for the commentary guide. So you'll see we have some general recommendations here. We recommend several different commentary series because commentaries often are published in series. So we note some of the particularly helpful commentary series that we have available. And also we recommend some non-Western commentaries to give you kind of a fuller perspective. For our purposes, we're going to look at commentaries on the book of Genesis. So we're going to start off with the section on the Pentateuch. And then we're going to select Genesis. So the first thing to note on this guide is, for Genesis are these highlighted call number ranges. If you click through those links, it will give you a more complete list of books available in the library on that book of the Bible or that section of the Bible. And then here we list major commentaries on Genesis. So these are recommended resources. They're a good place to start. You'll see we've got a print tab and an ebooks tab here to highlight which resources we have available in print. And then if we have it available as an ebook, we also make it available there under that tab as well. And let's take a look at the book of Genesis, chapters 1 to 17. So that's the first volume in Victor Hamilton's Genesis commentary. And it is part of the New International Commentary on the Old Testament series. So this link is going to take us through to the ebook record for Hamilton's Genesis commentary. And on this record, there are a few things we want to note. First of all, we want to look at the publisher permissions. Each ebook is going to have a different set of publisher permissions. In this case, you're able to print, email, or save up to 100 pages of the book, and you also have unlimited copy and paste abilities. So when we go into the ebook, you'll see options for saving or printing or emailing yourself up to 100 pages. So when you do that, you if you save, let's say the 20 pages of chapter 1, if you save that to your device, you have that in perpetuity as a PDF. It's not alone. Those pages don't go away. That's yours to keep. The other thing we want to note here are the concurrent user levels. For this particular book, there are 6 copies available, which means that 6 users can view this ebook at any given time simultaneously. You'll see different user limits on different ebooks. Sometimes you'll see a 1, 2, or 3 user limit. In this case, it's 6. For a lot of our ebooks, you'll see unlimited users can use the book simultaneously. But each ebook is a little bit different. Now we're going to go over here to the EPUB full text link. This is how we can access the full text of the ebook. And over here to the left, you'll see the table of contents that allows us to navigate different portions of the book. You can also click through from one page to the next. And then up here is where we have some of our usage options. We can select Save Pages. Again, you'll see you have up to 100 pages that you can save at a time. You can choose current page and the next, say, 20 pages, or however many pages that particular chapter is. And then you can just click Save PDF, and you have a PDF of that section. So that can be a really helpful tool, especially with commentaries, where most often you don't really need to use the whole commentary at one time, because you're dealing with one section, one portion of scripture. So you may only need a handful of pages from any given commentary to help you with your assignment. Going back to the ebook record, I'll note one other usage option here. There is the full download option. If you select full download, you'll get this message, which will prompt you to either sign or create an account with EBSCOhost. That's the vendor that provides our ebooks. It's not overly complicated to do, but we do offer a guide to downloading ebooks that's also on that guides and help list, and it just kind of walks you through step by step the process of creating an account with EBSCOhost and downloading the ebook reader software that they require you to use to download an ebook to your device. So if you choose that full download option, there are a few steps to go through to initially set up the ability to download an ebook. And when you download the ebook, you're saving that ebook to your device for usually a 2-week checkout period. And the benefit of that can be that, let's say it's an ebook with that has a 3 user limit. If you have downloaded the ebook to your device, you'll ensure that you have access to the entire ebook for the entirety of that 2-week checkout period. And you're not going to get locked out because 3 other people are using it at the particular time that you'd like to make use of it. So there are a couple steps to go through if you want to download the ebook for that specified checkout period. But short of that, you can browse the full contents of the ebook in your browser as well. Now we're going to look at some other ways to get a hold of books. If you haven't made use of this already, we do provide a guide for online students. Once again, it's in that under that Guides and Help tab. You'll see it's titled Guide for Online and DMin Students. That's going to give you a lot of different information about how to access resources when you're not on campus. We're going to cover some of the highlights of that guide, but it's a good one to be even more familiar with if you haven't taken a look at already. On that online user's guide, you're going to find information about digital loan. Digital loan is a service designed for students who are outside the St. Louis area. It allows you to request books that the library holds exclusively in print. So if we have a book that we own as a print copy and we don't own an ebook that you can access from off campus, you can request that print book as a digital loan. That will then prompt us in the library to make a digital copy of that book available, which we will then share with you share with you in digital form for a 4-week checkout period. And like our print books, it checks out for 4 weeks. It's also eligible for 2 renewals. So let's go back to the library homepage for a minute. And let's say we're looking for Genesis commentaries. I'm going to search in the library catalog for Genesis, and Bruce Waltke has a good Genesis commentary that's included under our recommended commentaries on our commentary guide. So we own 5 copies of Bruce Waltke's Genesis commentary, but we only own it as a physical book. We do not own an ebook copy. So if you would like to request that as a digital loan, click Request, enter your name and your student ID number, which your student ID number is printed on your student ID card. If you don't have a physical student ID card, your student ID number is also, it'll be called your library card number. You can find that in MyCTS on your profile page. So that's where you can find that information. Simply submit that. Use the drop-down window to select Covenant Seminary Digital Loan. Hit Submit. And then we ask that you allow up to 3 days for us to provide you with that digital loan. It will often come sooner than that, but it does take a little bit of time for us to process the request and then make a digital copy of that book available to you. So that's a great resource that you should take advantage of, but do allow a couple of days for us to get that to you. Another way that you can get a hold of physical books is through one of our reciprocal borrowing networks. These reciprocal borrowing networks provide Covenant students on-site borrowing privileges at participating libraries. We're involved in 2 reciprocal borrowing programs, the ATLA Reciprocal Borrowing Program and the ACL, or the Association for Christian Librarians Reciprocal Borrowing Program. And navigating back once again to the library homepage, if you go to Using the Library and select Mobius and Interlibrary Loan, we have more information about our reciprocal borrowing agreements right here. So this will give you two different maps, one from ATLA and the other from ACL. This is going to kind of clue you into libraries, hopefully near you, that participate in this program. So let's say you're in Iowa. If you're within driving distance of Wartburg Theological Seminary, you have access as a Covenant student to their campus library. So you can go in, they'll create an account for you, and you can check out books on site at that library. If you make use of these services, you do a little research to find which a library near you that's part of one of these programs. You're going to want to contact the library ahead of time. If you just walk in kind of unannounced, they may not be prepared to sort of create your account, and they won't have all the information that they need. So if you can contact them ahead of time, that's the best approach. And then they need to get in contact with us at Covenant to confirm your status as a student and to get some information from us so that they can create an account for you to use at their library. But that's if you're near a library that participates in one of those programs, that's a great resource as well. Interlibrary loan is another service that most libraries offer. At Covenant, we provide our students with interlibrary loan services, whereby if we go find books that we do not own. We go find them from another library, and they'll lend them to us. So that's one way that students can get books sent to campus from other libraries. If you are not on campus at Covenant, if you have a good local public library, it's a good idea to inquire about their interlibrary loan services. So using the public library is something that is really helpful for a lot of online students. You may not be near a good theological library, or not near one that participates in a reciprocal borrowing program that offers you borrowing privileges. And your local public library, in all likelihood, doesn't have a great research section and or a good, or a robust theological or biblical studies collection. However, what they in all likelihood do offer are interlibrary loan services. So if you bring information about a particular title, if you bring that information to your local public library and provide them with that, more often than not, they are going to be able to borrow that book from another library somewhere else in the country that does own it. It's usually free or low cost. We don't charge for this service here at Covenant. Public libraries often offer it for free. Sometimes there's a minimal fee involved. If you use interlibrary loan services, you always want to allow adequate time. At Covenant, we say that we need to allow up to 2 weeks to process your request and get that item in at the library and available to you. Different libraries are going to have different time frames, but you do want to allow adequate time. And you want to check with any given library for details and procedures. So, you can go look on the website of your local public library, see what information they have about interlibrary loan services, or it's always great to walk in and talk to one of the reference librarians. They're usually more than happy to provide you with that kind of information. So interlibrary loan services are a great thing to make use of, but sometimes you don't have time to wait for that 2, 3, 4 days a week that it takes to get the book in. So let's say it's the night before your paper's due, and you need one more resource, one more commentary to reference to really complete your paper. You go to our ebooks catalog here on the library homepage. We're going to search in the Mobius shared ebooks, which are the ebooks that we own collectively along with the other libraries in our Mobius consortium here in Missouri. Just going to search for Genesis or Genesis commentary. See, that result pulls up about 123 different titles. This is from the Tyndale Old Testament commentary series, which is another really solid commentary series that we recommend a lot. So searching the ebook catalog is one way you can get immediate access to a number of different commentaries. Okay, so we've talked predominantly. To this point, we've talked about getting a hold of physical books, mostly commentaries. Another major resource that you'll use when writing exegetical papers and other academic papers are journal articles. Where can you go to find good scholarly journal articles? The Atla Religion database is the primary database that we use at Covenant to do theological and biblical studies research. We also provide access to the New Testament abstracts, Old Testament abstracts, and religious and theological abstracts. Each of these databases, there's a lot of overlap between the contents of these databases, but Atla is the one that we use most frequently because it provides the most robust full text access to journal articles within the database. The other three, New Testament, Old Testament, and religious and theological abstracts, are also good databases to search if you're wanting to do a really exhaustive study on a particular topic or a particular passage of the Bible. They will provide some more resources that Atla doesn't provide, but there's a whole lot of overlap between those four. And all four of those databases support searching by scripture citation, which is what we're going to look at next. Going back to the library homepage, we're going to click on the Articles and Databases tab. We're going to click the View All Databases link. So this takes us to our database list of 60 plus databases that we provide access to. Some of them are subscription services that we pay money for. Others are open access and freely available online. But in those cases, they're good, reliable, really valuable resources. We kind of curate and make them available here on the database list. To sort of narrow down this list, we're going to use these filters. We're going to use the religion and theology filter. And we apply that. The first result is the Atla Religion database with Atlas Serials Plus. Before we start searching in the database, which we'll do in a minute, I'm going to direct you one more time on the library website to the Guides and Help section. And we have a guide titled Finding Articles on a Bible Passage. So this guide is going to help you understand kind of the functions of the Atla database, how it works. So one thing that students will often do when they're looking for articles on a particular passage of the Bible is they'll just start typing in chapter and verse into the search bar in the database. And that really brings up mixed results. You're going to get some things that are relevant, and you're going to end up getting a lot of results that are not very relevant. And that has to do with the way that the Atla database formats scripture citations. They're pretty specific in the way that they want you to enter in that information. So we kind of detail that problem or that challenge with scripture citation searching here. Talk about the technological limitations of the database. And under this Atlas Religion Database tab, we offer a couple different strategies for getting targeted results that will help you find the best resources in that Atlas Religion database. So the first strategy is using the Atlas Hierarchical Scripture Authority, which is what we're going to look at in just a moment. And the second strategy that we detail is the Bible Citation Index. If you make use of the Bible Citation Index within the Atlas database, you're going to be able to do a much more targeted search on a particular range of verses to find articles that deal with that very specific range of, say, 4 or 5 verses that you're trying to find resources for. So we offer kind of a step-by-step walkthrough of how to construct that search in the database. There are a few steps to it. It gets a little complicated, so we try and lay out all of the steps pretty clearly. And then this video provided by Atlas also gives you a quick run-through of actually 3 different methods for searching for biblical articles on biblical passages in the database. So that's something you can delve more into if you want to get even more thorough with your Atlas searches. But we're going to look at the Hierarchical Scripture Authority in Atlas. Okay, so we're now in the Atlas database. And what we're going to do is go to the Scriptures tab up here at the top. The Scriptures tab gives you a complete list of all the books of the Bible in canonical order. Once again, I'm going to start looking for some resources in Genesis, particularly in Genesis 15. So I'm going to expand out from Genesis, and it's going to give me different options for each chapter of Genesis. And expand from there and select Genesis 15, verse 1. So by selecting Genesis 15, verse 1, the database conducts a search that gives me 367 results of resources that deal in some way with Genesis 15, verse 1. And I'm going to use these limiters here to limit to only English language results. So that narrows down my results to 261. So what we're going to see in this list of results are primarily journal articles. We'll see some different types of resources as well, in addition to journal articles that we'll look at in a minute. But first, we're going to take a look at this 10th result. Okay, so this is the record for a periodical or journal article, The Smoking Firepot, A Flaming Torch, and Lutheran Theology. We click on the PDF full text link. It will take us through to the complete, the full text of the article. So you've got access to that article at this point. You can also use the email link here over off to the right to enter your email and then send that article to yourself. And it will send that as a PDF to your email. So once again, if you do that, you have similarly as we looked at with ebooks, you'll have perpetual access to that PDF. That is yours to keep. One other piece of functionality that's worth pointing out over here is the citation tool. So when you're kind of cleaning up your paper, making sure that you've got your footnotes and your bibliography is complete, you can use this citation tool to go to. Typically, we're going to be looking for the Chicago 17th edition. We also use the language of Turabian style citation. We also have a Turabian citation guide on the library website. Turabian is a citation guide that is based on Chicago. So that's what you're going to want to look for in these databases. Then you can copy and paste that citation to include in your bibliography. And we're going to take a look at one more item in this list of results. Specifically, reflections on preaching Christ from the Old Testament. So that is a journal article in the Southern Baptist Journal of Theology. Now, if we look over to the left here, we will not find what we found in the previous result, which was the full text link. So the ATLA database does not provide the full text of this journal article. It just provides information about the article. In that case, if you click the Find Full Text at Covenant link, it will take you out to our Journal Finder page. On the Journal Finder page, you'll see any other alternate access points that we provide to get hold of that particular article. In this case, the Southern Baptist Journal of Theology is also published as a open access free resource online. So you can follow that link to where you can access that journal online. In this case, it doesn't take, and as is often the case when we link out to a journal that's published for free or available for free online, it doesn't take you directly to the article itself. It takes you to the journal, the website for the journal. But then you can navigate through the previous issues, identifying the issue and volume number provided on the library records. You can find that issue and volume number on the journal's website and access that particular article. If we own a print copy of the journal in our print periodicals section, it will also show that as well. In this case, we do own copies of the Southern Baptist Journal of Theology. So that's available if you are in the library. If you don't see either of these two options, you should always see the place an interlibrary loan request option. So if the article is not available in the database that you're searching in, and if you follow that Find Full Text at Covenant link, and you don't see either of, you don't see any other access options, you'll always see the place an interlibrary loan request option. And when you click that link, it will ask you to log in to your library account. Again, you're using your first and last name and your student ID number to log in. And then if everything's functioning correctly, you should have an interlibrary loan form that is automatically populated with the information about the journal article that the form pulls from the database. So you just want to review that, make sure it's all accurate, and then you can submit that request. Okay, we're going to look at one more type of resource in addition to journal articles. Just going to go through my scripture search here one more time. Going to the Scriptures tab, expanding from Genesis, expanding from chapter 15, and then selecting verse 1. Again, I'm going to limit to English results only. And then I'm going to limit for one more thing. Under source type, I'm going to limit to essays. So these are results you'll see mixed in. If you just do a search in Atlas, you'll see results that look like the item type is a book. And they're going to be listed as essays. So typically what those are they're essays in an edited volume. So the volume, the book has an editor, and then each chapter is written by a different author. And because essays in an edited volume, and here you'll see under the publication type, it's listed as an essay. Because essays in edited volumes are very similar types of resources to journal articles. They're roughly the same length, often written in the same style. Those results, those essays, are included in Atlas search results. We're going to look at the second result, commentary on the Pentateuch. So this is a chapter in the book Eastern Christianity, a Reader. And once again, we don't see the find full text the PDF full text link. So the database does not provide full text access to this essay. And that's going to be the case that across the board, that's going to be the case with essays. If you find a resource that's listed as an essay, the full text is probably not going to be provided in Atlas. However, if you click the Find Full Text at Covenant link, it will take you through, again, to our Journal Finder page. In this case, it tells us that the title that we're looking for appears to be a book. It prompts us to search for it in the library catalog. So in this case, this particular book, we do own a copy at Covenant. You can find it downstairs in our stacks. It's available to check out for 4 weeks. However, if you're not on campus and you've found this result in the database, it looks like a helpful chapter. You've clicked through and you see that it is available to check out through the library. You can make use of the interlibrary loan form to get access to that chapter. Let's navigate back to the library homepage. Go to using the library, Mobius and interlibrary loan once again. Got some information about an interlibrary loan. I'm going to request an interlibrary loan. So this takes us through to a blank interlibrary loan form. It's going to ask what kind of item would you like to request. I'm going to say a chapter or essay from a book. At this point, you can go back to the record for that essay. You've got all the relevant information that you need. The title of the essay, you've got the title of the book, you've got the author's name here, and you can use also the page range. It's going to be important. So you can use all that information to then go back to this interlibrary loan form and fill in the relevant information. Once you've filled that in and submitted the request, we'll receive that request at the library, we'll process it, we'll scan that particular chapter or essay, and we will send that to you as a PDF via email. And again, that's not a loan, that is yours to keep. Okay, so we've covered, how to find primarily two kinds of resources: commentaries and journal articles, and a few variations on those types of resources. Just to end here, we're going to think for a minute about how to identify good academic sources. So as you're searching either in the catalog or in the database for commentaries, journal articles, you want to have some of these questions in mind about what makes a good academic source. So of the two, number one, Covenant Magazine, number two, Presbyterion, Covenant Seminary Review. We want to start to ask questions like, which of these is a good academic source? Which is targeted at an academic audience, which is targeted at a more popular audience. In this case, option number two, Presbyterion, would be considered an academic source. And that's the case because the articles and essays that you find in Presbyterion are aimed at an academic audience. They incorporate some kind of a review process by which the contents of each contribution are reviewed by other experts to help ensure their quality. So we talk a lot about peer review when it comes to academic literature, but it's not always obvious what that means. Peer review means that a resource has been approved by one or more experts in the field. It helps to ensure the quality of a resource. It is not a perfect solution. So just because talk about peer-reviewed journal, just because an article in that journal has been peer-reviewed, that is, the article's been submitted by an author and reviewed by two or more experts in that field, it doesn't ensure that that article is completely reliable, that every assertion, every interpretation of that article is accurate. However, it does help to guarantee that it's going to be a reliable resource, even if you still have to use some discernment and some critical thinking skills as you engage with it. Just one more example here, not of journals or periodicals, but books. We've got two books here on spiritual disciplines. One is The Liturgy of the Ordinary by Tish Harrison Warren. And number two is The Sermon on the Mount and Spiritual Exercises, The Making of the Matthean Self. So once again, as you might guess, number two is what would be considered the academic source. It's published by Brill, which is an academic publisher. Liturgy of the Ordinary is published by IVP, which does publish academic resources as well under their IVP academic moniker. But two good books on spiritual disciplines. One is the second is the kind of resource you would use if you're writing an exegetical paper, and the former is probably not. In closing, just want to give you a little information about how you can contact us in the library. Again, from the library website, if you hit our contact tab, you'll find information about our live chat, scheduling appointments, our email address, and of course, a phone number. If you'd like to get some more personalized help finding resources on a given topic for a particular assignment, you can schedule a research appointment. And you can do that online or in person if you happen to be on campus. And then you've got contact information for our library staff down here as well. So I hope this was a helpful workshop as you find resources for your various assignments. And thank you for attending.